Hello, today I'm going to walk you through Course Listings 2.0, a new website I've created. I'm going to walk you through the various features it has and how to use the most interesting part, how to create a four-year schedule template. So first I'll walk you through some of the basic features. First, browse classes. So the browse classes does what it says on the tin. You can search through all the classes WashU offers in fall 2018. You can also look through various previous offerings all the way back to fall 2014. You can search by school, by department within a school, text, so that could be a course number, course name, teacher name. You can search for an attribute. For example, maybe I'm in engineering school, I need a humanity, so I can search for humanities. Maybe I like business. Actually, I don't think business is going to have any humanities. Maybe arts and sciences, see what arts and science, humanities there are available. And if I'm looking for a specific teacher, for example, Diallo, I can search DIA, and I can find various teachers with Diallo in their name, or there could be in the course title, etc. Also, you can search by days. So by default, all days are selected, but maybe I only want courses that have a section on Monday, and I can look through here. And then also, I may only want courses that start after 8 a.m. and notice this is a military time, so if I wanted to say I don't want a course after 3 p.m., I would say 15, and that would allow me to look for courses that occur in that time slot and that have at least one thing on Monday. So I can see Fenderson teaches a course that has a slot on Monday, and a section on Wednesday as well, and it's Engineering Humanity and meets all those requirements. So that's what Find a Course does. Going back to the home screen, I'll log in. So I'll sign up actually. You can sign up with Google or you can sign up with your own account. I'm going to sign up with my account. Let's say my hometown is St. Louis. I'll do that, and now I'm signed in. So once you're signed in, it allows you to access this plan for your schedule. So what plan for your schedule is you can either look at other templates. Now these are not necessarily official WashU degrees. They're not vetted by WashU. They could have small discrepancies, but what they're designed to do is they're meant to mimic WashU degrees and allow you to help plan your four-year schedule, or could be 2-year, however you want to structure it, in a way that is more useful than perhaps the tools that WashU might give us. So you can look at other people's templates and by the name figure out what you want to use, but also you can create your own, and this is where the real beauty lies. So, for example, I'm a computer science student, so I might want to describe what is a computer science degree. Then I and others can go use this to then try to plan, what courses could I take in the future, what courses should I take now. So how this works is it's a drag and drop interface. So I can say computer science, and I'm going to be using the 1718 description, is 120 units. I'll get to what these other things mean in a second. And I'm going to look at some of the basics. So first, there are the core requirements. So what I'm going to do is anything that fits together in, well, a group, you want to put in a subgroup because that'll allow you to group things together that make sense and apply various filters, etc., to define what is in a group. So I'll call this one core requirements. And looking at the core requirements on the WashU page for what computer science bachelor science in computer science is, I can see that there are 18 credits required for computer science. So I want to then drag in several courses. There are, in fact, since most of them are 3 credits, there are 6 options, but one of them you get 2 options. And so how it works is computer science is school 81, and I can look at 131, good old comp sci 131, and I'll go give it a name. 132, comp sci 2, give it a name, and you go through and do this one at a time. Yes, it is a little tedious, but luckily you only have to do this once, and then anyone can use it. And more likely, the more popular courses will have this, or degrees would have this done by one person, and then be easy for others to use their work. So this is OOP. I'll just abbreviate it for now. Analysis of algo. Data structures. And now we get down to this OR. So how OR works is kind of what it says on the tin. to meet this requirement, you have to do one or the other. Usually you're going to put 2 classes there. You could also put something like 2 attributes. We'll get to what an attribute is in a bit. And you can use that to define what something is. So you look at 240, and you can look at logic and discrete, if I can spell, math. Now the other one actually is not in the engineering school. It is actually in the math department, which I believe is L24. Let me just double check that real fast. Yes, L24. And you can go mathematics. Now, if you do start off forget some of the stuff, you actually can pull up another course list 2.0, look at the course listings that we went over earlier. We can just look for courses and use that to help fill some of this in. And this is Foundations for Higher Mathematics. And so that is the core requirements. So what I'm saying now is that there's this core requirements, that's 18 credits, and you have to meet all those requirements. However, what it does right now is it's saying you could meet any of these requirements, but since it's inclusive, anything that could potentially fit in here, which would, right now, since all we're saying is these are the possible classes you could take, would be anything, this would basically accept any class. So if we turn off inclusive, that means only accept classes that are explicitly listed or things that are explicitly listed in this group. And so that allows us to then say, well, you have to take from these 6 options. Now I'll go on to the next one, which is the technical elective requirement. So this will be a new group. It's not under the core requirements. We're not saying that it's not part of core requirements. It's a separate group. And so we'll call it technical electives. And this one is 24 credits. Now, unlike core requirements where they just list off certain classes, technical electives are elective. I mean, they're more broad. There are not specific classes you take. So looking at the website, it has to be an SMT or a suffix. So how I'll set that up is I'll say it has to be one of these. Now, and I'll draw, like you can drag ORs into other ORs to basically combine more and more slots to create large ORs that you can maybe have, SMT or A for 4 or 5 or however many things you need. And so then I'll bring in this new thing. It's a suffix thing. It kind of says what it does. You pick a suffix for a course, and you can type that M. Now, at any time, if you make a mistake, maybe I had dragged in this not thing, or actually, I actually can't do a not, but you could do a course in there. I can just press the X, and that will get rid of that, and then I can replace it with something else. And so I say SMT array. So this acts as a filter. Anything inside the technical electives group must meet this requirement. So it must be an SMT or A class. And as the technical electives requirement says, anything that is an SMT or A with one more requirement, it must be not in the department, in the School of Engineering the School of Computer Science, I believe, because I'm sure there are other departments that use that and the SMT or A suffix, and that would really be what they're looking for. So I say it has to be a computer science engineering course and have one of these 4 suffixes, and if it's in there. And if you have 24 credits that meet these 2 criteria, you've satisfied this requirement. There is a couple caveats though. For example, I could take 24 credits of M, but that actually does not meet the requirements. The requirements also have a few other things. First off, you have to take at least 3 credits of S, or one S course, which they're all 3 credits, so we can say S requirement 3 credits. And in addition to these filters filter down, or go down, so this one also has these filters, but I can be more stringent and say, no, only S suffix is allowed here. And then I can do the same thing. There's also another requirement that you must have an M or A class. As before, since there's only one class, I'll only say 3 credits, and then I'll drag this OR, and I will, oops, nope, not there. That's the undo feature, pretty useful. And then I'll say A or M. So I don't have to put computer science engineering because I already have that filter in a containing group. So that's why I can just say A or M, and I know that only computer science engineering courses will be allowed. There is one final thing though. They say there's an exception. If you take some independent study courses, you actually can use those for your technical elective instead. But those independent study courses are actually not, SMTA courses. They are special. So how that works is, I'll make another group. I'll call this independent study, because that's what the exception is for. And it says up to 6 credits. Now it says up to 6. I could take, or anyone could take, no technical electives and still graduate. But it's maxed at 6 units. So what that means is that I'm going to say this is variable. You do not have to have 6 units, but you can have up to 6 units. What I'll also say is I'm going to define this as several courses. So I'm going to say, I look at the website and it says the course is 400E. I'm not sure the exact designation, but I believe these are all just independent study of one form or another. Maybe some research in there. And so and there are 4 courses. I'll just call them all independent. And that's 497, 498, and you might have guessed it, 499 is the last one, and these are all in School of Engineering. However, right now as it stands, these will never be required because a higher up requirement says it has to be SMT or A, and these are not SMT classes. So what you can do, well, first I'll check this not inclusive because I'm saying it has to be one of these courses. But I'll also say I'll drag in this thing and drag in an exception. What an exception means is cancel all the filters from above. This is going to be special, and that's what this is. This is special. It doesn't really need any filter for it because this is kind of an exception. So now what I've said is I have this technical elective group, which is 24 credits. It must be 24 credits because it's not variable, but any class that really meets these filters will be allowed. Has to be an SMTA course in the computer science engineering school. Has to have at least 3 credits of S, suffix S, 3 credits of A or M, and you can also have up to 6 credits because it's variable of one of these 4 classes, but it's not inclusive because I'm saying it has to be one of these 4 classes. Because if I had this green, because of this exception, this would basically allow any class from anywhere to fit in here because I have no filters, just optional classes. So that's the technical elective. I'll continue going down and I'll finish making the computer science degree. So another group in is there are math requirements. And this is 15 credits, and it is basically 5 courses except there are some alternatives. So we'll have a couple of ors in here. Whoa. Oh, I forgot. There's 3. You have to take Calc 1, Calc 2, Calc 3. However, you can take matrix algebra or Nmath A, and you can take one of several probability and statistics classes. So we'll start out with yes. So how many prob sets are there classes? Are there 1, 2, 3, 4? So because one of the 4 options for probability and statistics is a if you notice, we can't drag a group into the OR. The OR doesn't work like that. So instead, we're going to do something a little bit different. And this shows how, while this will allow you to pretty much make all possible courses, it does require a little bit of innovation sometimes. So I will say L24 is the 4 math classes, but so 131, 132, 233, Calc 3, Calc 2, Calc 1. So I'll say inclusive, so it has to be one of these requirements. It has to be 15 credits. This is L24 309, which is matrix algebra. And there's also Nmath A, which if I look up real fast, what is Nmath A? Or what department it is in. I think that'll probably be in the general engineering department. Let's see. I have another screen open. You can't really see what I'm doing. It is apparently an E35, which is Electrical and Systems Engineering. I would not have guessed that. You learn new things every day. And I guess in looking at the website, it is ESE, which is Electrical Engineering. And this is in Math A. So for the last one, we have four options, one of which is two classes combined. So that gets a little tricky. So what we're going to say is we're going to say 3 credits. Well, how will this work? So we're going to have the 3 possible ones that are just a single class. So we're going to, we'll call that these are statistics classes. So statistics, 3 credits, not inclusive. It is not variable, and then we'll have option here. So we'll say you can have one of several options. So you can say you have pause. Okay, I'm back. I thought about it for a little bit, and I realized the solution is a little odd, but it should work. And so what we'll say is the statistics course is maximum at 3 units. However, we're going to put 2 subcategories. What this means is that if one of these subcategories is met, the statistics would have enough units, but the other category, if it says I have not met the requirements, then it would cause statistics to say that there is an unmet requirement, even though maybe the total number of units has been satisfied. So what we'll say is statistics level 1 statistics and level 2. And so in each of these we're going to list some options. Oh, whoops, drag it out. And so for the first one, there are 4 possible courses that we can have. So there's E35. So again, School of Engineering for, what was that? Electrical and Systems Engineering, which is 326, probability and statistics. So for a computer science major, this is probably what you'll be taking. Run the probability of that. Little puns, right? But there are also other options for other people. So you've got L24, Math 3200, which is elementary to int statistics. And I apparently the typing correct English is not with me today. And then we also have QBA, so I'll look up exactly where QBA is. Not huge authoritative on the business school, even though I am getting a business second major. So oops, almost there. And QBA 120 is in B59, and B59 is quantitative business analysis. Okay, I guess that makes sense. And QBA 120, the official name is Managerial Statistics 1. Or And then we have last but not least, Psych 300, which again I'll refer to my list over here for what is Psych. L33. Psych 300. Intro to the Psychological Statistics. So there we go. That's that group. Now what's this level 2 group? How is this going to be different? Because we've really accounted for everything except the QBA 121 requirement that if you go through the business track you're going to have. So what we're going to do is we're basically going to have a similar, pretty much exact same situation as above, except, ooh, I think I overwrote that. Yep. We're going to have QBA 121 instead. So how will this solve the problem of there are 3 options which are 1 course and 1 option which is 2 courses. So both of these requirements must be met. However, if you take one of the 3 option courses, the things that are not in the business school, you will meet both requirements because your class will be in both areas. And they'll add up to 6 credits, but statistics will cap you at 3, so it will not double count, and you'll be good. And there we go. That will meet those requirements. However, if you're in a business school, if you just take 120 or 121, you will not meet both. But there's also people that, like myself, would probably take engineering problem statistics and then also 121, and so we would very clearly meet those requirements there. And in general, you will meet all the requirements possible. So, yep, that meets those requirements. Oh, I need to change this to 120.62. And that accounts for both. So there we go. That is the math requirement for the Bachelor in Computer Science. There are a couple other requirements. If you look in a group, we have to have the writing requirement. I think this is actually these are just classes. I think you have to have. So we can, if it's just a class, and they kind of not really fit in anywhere, we can just probably tack it in here. Let's figure out where college writing is. I think it's L13. College. Oh, maybe it's in a special college writing program. Has its own department. Fancy. College writing. Oh, that's the name. College writing. And then we will, it's course 100. And we can look. That is basically, well, there are a couple other courses there, but that's basically it. Interesting. And there's also technical writing. So this one is L30. Well, actually, I'm not sure what course this is in. Looks like it might just be in the general engineering one. Yes, it looks like it is. Engineering E60. 310. So then we look at this, and this is called technical writing. So you have to meet that requirement to be able to graduate. So, and then there are a couple other requirements. So there is the natural sciences requirement. And so, how many credits for natural sciences? 8. It's inclusive, but it must be met. And looking at the fine print, it says natural sciences are anything that's designated natural science. So then we'll get to using this attribute, which is N and M, natural science or mathematics. So we'll have to say it has to have that attribute, and it has to be from one of the following departments. They list off quite a bunch, but our screen real estate may get a little cramped, but we should be able to fit. I think it's 7 of them. Quite a few. 5. Let's make it a little cramped. We'll see. Oh, it just scrolls down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. Okay. And we are looking at schools, and we're going to say college writing and humanities. My first anthropology. Boom. Then we've got biology. Good old bio. I'm sure many people, especially those that are not computer science majors primarily, have taken that. I myself only took one course of physics and some IB chemistry credit, and did not have to take that, which it's very interesting, but it's not my kettle of anatomy. Environmental studies. Or physics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Anthro, bio, chemistry, or environmental studies. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I had 8. Interesting. Well, I actually need one more. I actually miscounted. There were only 6. And this one is the one I ended up doing, which was physics. And I scrolled a little too far. Physics. And there we go. So we're saying anything that meets this requirement, which is pretty stringent, it has to be natural science, and one of these 6, one of the schools, I guess. But that's about it. And then you also, one more group, I think. You have to have the humanities and social sciences. And this one is going to be 18 units. Quite large. And this one's interesting because you have to take at least 6 humanities, at least 6 social studies, but also 18 overall, so you kind of have some options. So it has to be 18, but we're going to have some variability. So how we're going to do this is we're going to use 2 subgroups to say you have to take at least 6 here. So first we'll say, well, it has to be humanity or social science, so those are attributes. Or the attribute comes in useful, and we'll say an engineering, humanity, or engineering social science. Now there are, I think, a couple exceptions. You can go talk to your advisor and get exceptions, have more courses added here. But like I said, this is a guide. It's not necessarily the ultimate proof. So if there are a couple exceptions, you just kind of gotta work with the system, what you have, and follow the written guidance. So now it says you have to have at least 6 credits of social sciences. So we'll say social sciences, 6 credits. And we'll be even more restrictive and say only social sciences can fit here. Now we know that all the social sciences are still in there because they weren't filtered out at a higher level. Oh, there's. And this will be the humanities. 6 credits. And we drag it in there. We can say engineering, humanity. There it is. So also at the very top we've said 120 units. So if you meet all these sub-requirements but you don't have 120 units, you still have to do some more work to graduate, get a second major or something instead. So this is a template for computer science in the school year from 2017 to 2018. Of course these may change, but this is the rough outline of what we're doing. So I'll save this degree, and there it is. Boom. So I'm now going to use it. I want to use what I just put a lot of hard work into. So now if you look at here, you can see all these requirements that it says we need to meet to be able to get this degree. So there are 2 ways that you can basically look at courses and sorry, I have a cough here. Actually, I think I'm going to go get a drink. Be right back. I'll see you in a second. And I'm back. So, as I was saying, some of the ways that you can get courses and to see if you're meeting requirements are looking at completed classes. So these are classes that you've already completed. You can upload your transcript, which I'll get to in a bit. Also just say I've taken these classes, or I'm taking these classes. And any degree you look at will use these classes because you've taken them already to see what requirements you meet in that degree. You also can then add specific future classes that you might want to take to any degree specifically. These are not for all your degrees, they're just for per degree. And so I might be curious, what do I have to do to meet certain requirements? So, for example, what if I wanted to take technical writing? Technical writing, here we go. And I add that. Suddenly, bam, I have met the technical writing requirement with 3 units. Same for college writing. Boom, I met that requirement. Now let's say I want to do the core requirements. I want to take, well actually there are quite a lot. Let's narrow it down. I want to be adding courses from computer science. And let's say I took 131. Boom, met that requirement. I am on a roll. So interestingly enough, 132 was not being offered in the fall, but you can also go back to other semesters and add from there as well. So if you are finding something like, 132, I thought that was offered a lot. Well, some of it's not offered in the year you're searching, so you want to make sure to go back to previous years to make sure that you are meeting those requirements. So, data structures and algorithms, boom. Object. 347. On a roll, and then we have this option. Let's just go for logic and discrete math. That's what I did. And boom. So you notice, well, I haven't taken this class, but because it's one of these, that's fine. Now I have met the requirements for the core requirements. And you can go down the line and do this and do this and do this. And you'll be good. Now I will say, one thing that I made a mistake and forgot when doing my core requirement, I'm going to go back and fix later, is that in my technical electives, I actually don't want to count object-oriented programming because that actually is required anyway. It actually is not an S class that actually counts for that technical elective, so I'll have to go back in and say, hey, actually don't count S. But that's the general idea here, is that you meet these sub-requirements, and then for each group, as long as you meet the total number of units, and you meet every sub-requirement. So I meet all the core requirements, all the classes, all the technical electives, math requirement, natural, excuse me, sciences, humanities, and social sciences. And I'm back. Sorry for the cut right there, but as I was saying, you can go down, and as you see, I've added a couple humanities courses right here, and now you can see that I've met my humanities requirement. But if you actually look, I can say I just really take a bunch of humanities. You can say you took a course multiple times. There are, I think, a few repeatable courses, so you could theoretically, I know I added a bunch, right? But I'm still not meeting this requirement because I actually haven't taken any social sciences, even though I have 18 whole credits in this category. But if I add 2 social sciences, then you'll see the entire category is now met. And the same process repeats over and over again with other stuff. Now, for example, this category was optional, so you can see that even though I don't have any courses inside it, that this is still required because it is an optional thing. So that is how that part works. You can you see now I've created this degree. I clicked on it. Whoops. This is over here, and say I add a course or something, I can click Save Degree, and that will save my changes, so I can go to the computer, open this degree up, and these future classes that I've added will be saved. And then I can go make another degree, maybe I have a major or a second major or a minor that I can want to make a template for or something. Probably be a little shorter than a whole degree. Or if someone else has made something like that, then you can go here and look at that. So here we have the course listings page. So here you can basically plan what you want your next semester to look like. Now, what makes this different from the core registration worksheets that we really have available through Webstack. Well, this ties in very nicely with your degree program. So let's say I go to plan for your schedule. This is the electives for computer science. So you can see some electives here. Let's say I had wanted to take something with an S in it. A lot of things with an S in it. Let's see, anything with a suffix. Or let's say I wanted to take 260M. I add that class. It meets my A&M requirement, and I'm like, well, that's really all I'm thinking about for now. And my elective says 2. I'm gonna go plan my next semester. You'll notice here that apparently there's only one section of this class, but it automatically populates that for me. And I can look at the different degrees available. I only have one degree right now, and what that means is that it makes it really easy for me to then plan how are the courses I want to take going to affect my degree program, and then pivot that over to how can I put those courses into my schedule. It makes it really easy. So the options available to you for any course are add. And you can see I added again. Now there's a conflict, so it's going to show red. You can also preview, which basically the benefit there is that you can easily clear it by clicking clear preview instead of having to go, and click the X. You also can then, of course, search for any course offered next semester. And so you can look there. If I want to take Computer Science 131, get past the Chinese and some of the other classes that are offered, same number, and I can see that there are some options here for adding and so on. And then I can say, oh, I want to take 131A, and so that's how you can use this to plan your next semester. And I think it's a nice tool, and you can then save your plan, and then if you log out and log back in, then that will be saved. Or you went to another computer or something, that'll be there. So that's that. Last but not least, you have the actually. Let me log in again. You have this page. So with this page, kind of your account page. So you have various options available to you. For example, you can, if you felt the desire, you could delete your account on here. But there's also this big focus in that you can manage what classes that you've already taken. That's useful for seeing what requirements you meet for a degree, and so on. So there are two ways. One, you can just manually go through, find all the courses that you've taken, and add them. If I had taken this class, I'd add it, and now I've taken Introduction to Design Processes 1. But that's a little slow. So what you can do is you can take your unofficial transcript from WashU, download the PDF. Now all this happens locally on your computer. Nothing is sent to the server, except the classes that it extracts. No grades or anything. It will only count classes that you passed, but that's about it. So I'll click Submit. It'll take a second, and then boom, you can see all the classes that I've taken. So notice this stuff, it'll count your labs and your sections simultaneously. So maybe I don't want my lab for 247 being counted, then I could just go in here and delete that. Yeah. So that's that. You can go in here, edit stuff. Now notice some of the units you get here are actually a little bit different because if you have taken a class or gotten it waived, then maybe you have a 0 credit class, and that'll actually show up here, and so you can use that to handle things, and that's how that works. Yep, that's pretty much it for the website. Got those panels available to you, and you can use them to build your courses for the coming year. If you have any questions, email me at alexbaker@wustl.edu. And this video will be going right here on the front page, and you can always watch it again. Or if you have any suggestions about how to improve the website or the video, feel free to send me an email. Thank you for watching.